You don't get what you want. You get who you are. If you're trying to manifest or create something into your life, you're trying to create a new life, whether it's creating $10 million or a brand new relationship or a new house or a new career, you must understand that you do not get what you want in this world. You do not get what you want in this world. Do not go after it if you want it. You must change who you are first, because you get who you are. You don't get what you want. And I'm getting several emails and comments about this topic, and I want to cover that in this video and explain that, how the conception of yourself changes actually who you are, and how to use the law of assumption and how that changes who you are, and that's what attracts the thing to you. That's how you manifest and create things. You change who you are, so therefore you have what you want. Once you change who you are to the point where you have it and you use the law of assumption and sustain that feeling of having something, then you no longer want it because you have it at that point. I'm going to teach you guys how to do this in this video today. Chapter 19, Essentials. This is The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard. Imagination creates reality. Imagination creates reality. Let's go ahead and jump into it. You get who you are, not what you want. Okay, so for example, you want to be rich, but is that who you are? You want to be rich, but is that who you are? Are you rich? Are you rich right now? Have you used the law of assumption? That's where the power of assumption comes into play. You can, when you can, sustain the feeling and assume you are rich, then you will be rich. I'm going to repeat that. Okay, so when you can sustain the feeling with persistence and assume that you are rich, you will be. You will be rich. You will no longer want to be rich because you are now rich. So you've changed yourself right here. You get who you are, not what you want. So you've changed who you are. You are now rich by using the law of assumption. That's where the law of assumption comes in. You change who you are, and then it is rightfully yours in its natural state. You have changed your conception of yourself. That's the power of the law of assumption. That's how it works. So whatever you want, just assume that you have it, and that will change who you are. Once you assume you have something, it will change who you are with the power of assumption. The law of assumption will change your personality, your identity, your version of yourself will change. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right into this, guys. I'm going to go over the 3 essential points when using the law of assumption to help you, to guide you to using the actual law of assumption. Step by step, I'm going to break this down for you and clearly narrate this for you. That way you can use it yourself and start really, really applying this and understanding it, because this is key. Okay, so first and above all, yearning, longing, intense, burning desire. With all your heart, you must want to be different from who you are right now. See, that's the key. You must desire, you must have a burning desire to change the person that you want, and you use that. You can use that by wanting to be rich. You want to be rich right now, but you're not going to get what you want. You're going to get who you are, and you're going to use that burning desire for the thing that you want to actually change who you are, change the conception of yourself by using the law of assumption. And you can do that once you have used that burning desire to actually visualize and really get yourself into that state of the new version of the new concept of self. That's what you use the desire for. Okay, so combined with an intention which make good is the mainspring of action. Okay, so that's what it is. It's basically the mainspring of action. You want to be rich. You want to be rich, so you must change who you are, and you use that energy to visualize and change your personality, your identity, your version of yourself. Okay, so the beginning of all successful ventures. In every great passion which achieves its objective, desire is concentrated. So you must have a burning desire and concentrate that in order to change the conception of yourself. That's what you're going to use, okay? So as the heart, this is Psalms 42:1. As the heart panteth after the water brooks, so panteth my soul, or belief. So panteth my belief after thee, O God. Psalms 42:1, okay? Blessed are they that hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Matthew 5:6. This is where Neville Goddard interprets this, okay? So here, the soul is interpreted as the sum total of all that you believe. That's why I put the belief right here, because so panteth my soul, belief. Okay, so panteth my belief after thee, O God. So that's belief. That's what he's interpreting soul to be, his belief. The soul is interpreted as a sum total of all you believe, think, feel, and accept is true. In other words, your present level of awareness. Your present level of awareness. Okay, so God, I am the source and fulfillment of all desires, understood psychologically. I am an infinite series of levels of awareness, and I am what I am according to where I am in the series of that infinite series. Okay, so infinite awareness. Where do you locate? Where's your personality located in this infinite series of levels of awareness? That's key right there. Okay, so, all right. The quotation describes how your present level of awareness longs to transcend itself. Righteousness is the consciousness of already being what you want to be. Righteousness is the consciousness of already being what you want to be. So you just change your consciousness basically by assuming a new virtue, a new version of yourself. You just assume the new version. Assume that you are now rich, and you will have it. You just assume it, and you will have it, because once you have assumed it, then you're going to have that feeling, I'm now rich. And then at that point, all the money that you want, the relationships that you want, the things that you want are going to be rightfully yours, and they're just going to come to you. They're going to come to you, and you're going to be planted with ideas, and other people are going to have ideas that are going to be based on you getting those things. Whatever has to happen in order for you to get those things, that's what's going to happen next. So be prepared for that once you have changed the version of yourself, because you're going to get it. All right, second step here. Cultivate physical immobility. So basically SATs. A state akin to sleep, a physical incapacity, not unlike the state described by Keats in his Ode to a Nightingale. A drowsy numbness pains my senses, as though of hemlock I had drunk. Okay, so SATs, I put SATs, state akin to sleep right here. That's what he's talking about. A drowsy numbness pains my senses, as though of hemlock I had drunk. It is a state akin to sleep right here, a state akin to sleep, but one in which you are still in control of the direction of your attention. So you're not in full sleep mode here. You're not completely conscious, but you're right in the middle. You're in the drift. You're in the drift in between consciousness and the subconscious. Okay, so you have control of your. This is where some practice may come in. That's why I encourage you to practice, because once you have mastered this, you can create anything you want, create any new version of yourself that you want. Okay, so, but one in which you are still in control of the direction of your attention. You must learn to induce this state at will. Okay, that's why when I do the flow state, things like that, I practice it so many times and have strengthened the muscle of the mind that I am able to do this. You must learn to induce this state at will at any time. But experience has taught that it is more easily induced after a substantial meal. So basically, with the flow state, I can get into SATs standing. I don't have to be laying down. I don't have to be sitting down. I've done it so many times that I can now do that in a crowd of people. I can get into SATs and actually create things right then and there, because I'm able to, after I'm so experienced at doing this, which you guys can also get there. Some of you have probably already this experienced out there, but you can get into this state at will once you have practiced this enough, by building the muscle of the mind, by being able to detach from your ego and going into this state that's in between the conscious and the subconscious mind. And then you're right there, and then you're connected with the infinite source, which is God himself, a direct line to God in SATs. Okay, so, but experience has taught me that it is more easily induced after a substantial meal or when you wake up in the morning feeling loath to arise. So this is also true. I mean, in the morning time, I mean, you're more loathed to get into that feeling after you have a substantial meal. You're kind of like, you're kind of in and out. You're not fully conscious, but you're not asleep. So you're kind of like in that daydream mode, but you need to take control of your attention at that point. That's the difference. Most people, when they get into that state of SATs, it's more like a dream or a daydream state where they're not in control. They're the servant and not the master of their minds. So this is like a training process that will get you to be able to take control of that moment or that drift in between the conscious and the subconscious. That way you can really take control and start creating some really awesome things in your life. Okay, so then you are naturally disposed to enter this state. The value of physical immobility shows itself in an accumulation of mental force which absolute stillness brings with it. It increases your power of concentration. Okay, so be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Okay, so in fact, the greater energies of the mind seldom break forth except when the body is stilled and the door of the senses closed to the objective world. So you must learn how to close the door to the objective world, and still having full control of your attention during this state. Okay, now we're getting into the third and final step of exactly what you do. So now the first thing, you want to find the desire. Okay, you want to make $3 million. You want $3 million. I want $3 million. You found what you desire. Okay, so then you find sats. You get into a state akin to sleep. However developed your mind is at that point, whether you have to lay down or you can do it while you're standing, or you can do it in the morning, or it doesn't matter when you do, you get into the drift, okay? And you have total control of your mind in the drift, in between conscious and the subconscious. You have total control, and now you're able to create in a vivid sense, okay? So to do this, you experience in your imagination what you would experience in reality had you achieved your goal. And it's $3 million, we can go by Neville Goddard's method, what he taught my grandfather in the back of the Wilshire E. Bell Theater, which you imagine that you have two of your family members or friends that are coming up to you and congratulating you, and they're so emotional and excited about you winning or you having, $3 million, or you're now really, really wealthy, and you create an entire scene. And that's this third and final step. That's the last thing you have to do. And I have designed a meditation, a $3 million meditation where you sleep, and I actually walk you through all the steps, and then I actually walk you through the actual visualization and at one time, and then I teach you how to do that, and then I allow you to create it yourself for the entire rest of the meditation, and then you visualize the scene yourself and you fall asleep in it while you're in sats, okay? And I will post that video at the end, that way you can check that out if you want to. It's an actual instruction from Neville Goddard himself that will guide you to creating that $3 million while you fall asleep in it. We go through all of these steps. You find desire, physical immobility, and then I walk you through the visualization of being a multimillionaire. Okay, so you must gain it in imagination first, for the imagination is the very door to the reality of that which you seek. Okay, so, but use imagination masterfully, okay? That's what we emphasize a lot, okay? So, and not as an onlooker thinking from the end, but as a partaker thinking from the end, okay? We've gone over this before. You want to think from it in the first person. Do not think of it in the third person. You want to think from it in the first person. This, like what he says right here, is another good way to put it. Don't think of it as an onlooker thinking of the end. Don't think of the end, but as a partaker. You are the actor in the movie, and you're thinking from the end, like you're actually performing the act here and now, and then you fall asleep. Then you take that into the drift, and as you drift, then you take it into the subconscious mind, and then the subconscious mind at that point will then create whatever you have impressed it with, whatever feeling you've impressed it with. Imagine that you possess a quality or something you desire with hitherto has not been yours. Surrender yourself completely to this feeling until your whole being is possessed by it. This state differs from the reverie in this respect. It is the result of a controlled imagination and a steady, concentrated attention, whereas reverie is the result of an uncontrolled imagination. Okay, so that's a reverie is a daydream, basically. An uncontrolled reverie is a daydream, and you don't want to do this. Most people that don't know the laws, they don't know the imagination, how it creates reality, just go into this where their mind takes total control. So they're not consciously creating anything. They're creating, they're going into the drift with the events of the day, whatever feelings are willy-nilly, whatever their mind is at that when they go into the drift. But now we're learning that you can control this, okay? So it's not a daydream. You take complete control of your attention in this state, the state akin to sleep, in the drift. So your imagination is controlled, and you are actually visualizing the world that you want. Okay, that's what you're trying to do. That's what you're going to do, is visualize the world that you want in this state, okay? Usually just as a daydream. Okay, so in the controlled state, a minimum of effort suffices to keep your consciousness filled with the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Okay, so In the control state, a minimum of effort. We've gone over this, which is the effortless way. This is least action is what he's talking about. A minimum of effort suffices to keep your consciousness filled with the feeling of the wish fulfilled. So you're not working at this. This is not something you're going to be frustrated with. This is something once you develop the muscle of the mind, you're able to do at will. And it becomes very, very effortless once you have practiced this enough and you can go into sats and you're able to assume a state and visualize very simply. And you will find that when you walk through these steps and you actually practice this. The physical and mental immobility of this state is a powerful aid to voluntary attention and a major factor of minimum effort. The application of these 3 points are desire, physical immobility. The assumption of the wish already fulfilled is the way to at-one-ment or union with your objective. The first point is feeling of accomplishment. The secret of thinking from the end is to enjoy being it. I love this part right here. The third point is thinking from the end, which with the feeling of accomplishment. The secret of thinking from the end is to enjoy being it. Okay, so you're not frustrated. You're actually enjoying what you're doing. When you're visualizing, you have total control. It's effortless. It's least action. You're actually enjoying what you're doing. Okay, you're enjoying being this new version of yourself. Now you have $3 million. How would you not enjoy that? How are you not happy? You are going to enjoy being that. So make sure you're in that state while you're doing that. Okay, so the minute you make it pleasurable and imagine that you are it, you start thinking from the end. You start thinking from the end when you make it pleasurable and imagine that you are it. Okay. One of the most prevalent misunderstandings is that the law works only for those having a devout or religious objective. Okay. Yeah, we all know this. Okay. So that's a misunderstanding, a fallacy. This is a fallacy that it only works for religion. Okay. It works just as impersonally as the law of electricity works. Okay, it can be used for greedy, selfish purposes. I want to emphasize this point right here, guys, because what you put out does come back, and that's your perspective. Okay, your perspective of the life that you live. You have perspective of good and bad, and if you do bad things, those things are going to come back to you. So if you use them for greedy, selfish purposes, that's what's going to come back to you. You'll create greedy and selfish people in your world. It will come back to you if you are greedy and selfish. You will have greedy, selfish people, treating you the way that you have treated your world. Okay, so I recommend and I encourage you to use it for noble ones. But it should always be borne in mind that ignoble thoughts and actions inevitably result in unhappy consequences. All right, I'm going to mention this one more time. Let's go over the 3 elements again real quick here before we get out of here. All right, so here they are right here. Okay, so desire. Physical immobility and the assumption of the wish already fulfilled is the way to at-one-ment or union with your objective. Desire, find out what you want. You want $3 million, okay? You've discovered it. You want $3 million. Okay, so physical immobility. Okay, so now you want to get to a spot where you can get into sats very easily, which is the spot in between your conscious mind and the subconscious, in the drift. Okay, you want to get in there, take total control, and then you want to visualize. Third step. By visualizing, by the assumption of the wish already fulfilled is that way. Okay, guys? One more thing before we end this video. If you are looking for a training video, I offer a meditation from Neville Goddard himself, where I walk you through Neville's VIP formula of the visualization of creating $3 million while you sleep. I will put that up right here. It's going to be about right here. Okay, guys. I appreciate you guys very much. Love you very much. Hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you guys tomorrow.